Of course.
Well, hello everyone. This is Crystal Lynn, Cowgirl Astrologer, and I am super excited, of course, to announce that I have a special Google Hangout tonight. I want to come on tonight and talk to you guys about some current transits, and I have enlisted another Astro buddy tonight, Miss Sarah Miller, who has a YouTube channel. Hello, Sarah. How are you tonight?
Hi, Crystal Lynn. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for coming on my channel. I really enjoy getting to talk to other YouTube astrologers. I feel like we're kind of a rare bunch, and it just is so exciting to get to talk to others about the stuff that goes on in our heads all the time. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me to this hangout. I am in love with YouTube. I'm absolutely obsessed with it, especially after starting to do hangouts with other astrologers. It's the best ever.
Yeah, so when did you come on? Tell us a little bit about your channel tonight. And when did you start your channel?
I started my channel back in October during that really crazy Mercury retrograde back in Scorpio and Libra. I pretty much lost my mind and went crazy and decided that I'd start making YouTube videos about astrology because I had a lot of pent up passion about it, because I don't have a lot of friends who are really into it, and I just felt I needed to be able to express myself in some sort of way.
Yeah, and I just heard recently, somebody talking about astrology and how it chooses you. Would you say that that's true, that this came into your life? I mean, how did you get into astrology?
Oh, absolutely. I got into astrology when I was younger. I was about 7, and I overheard my mom and my grandma arguing about whether I was a Capricorn or Aquarius. And I had remembered my grandma had all these really nice zodiac glasses. They're all really old fashioned and had the I jumped up on the counter and grabbed one that matched my. And ever since, I was just at a Windows 95 computer, and first thing I did was look up astrology, and it was so my sister thought I was weird because I was 9 years old reading about astrology, and
Wow.
It became my passion at 16 when I was given a book and started doing birth chart readings. It just completely changed my life.
Wow. And when I look at your chart, Sarah is I should have you tell us, but I will say that you have a moon in Scorpio, which is always I love moon in Scorpios. I mean, it is an intense energy, but there's something so intriguing and fascinating, and I always listen when a moon in Scorpio talks. It's like I have this awe and respect. Tell us a little bit about you and your basic chart, and then we'll get into some more stuff tonight as we get going.
Okay, well, I'm a Capricorn sun. My sun's at 29 degrees, and it's directly conjunct with Venus, which I absolutely love. It gives me a really just kind of bubbly demeanor about me. I'm usually almost always in a good mood. And then I have my moon in Scorpio in the 3rd house, and that's crazy. It's a very rough position at times because, with my moon in Scorpio, I do tend to talk about really intense things, and I can go a little bit overboard with that 3rd house energy. I can kind of just keep prodding and prodding and prodding until I just drive people absolutely insane. And then my Leo ascendant, that's fun.
Yeah. And that's, that Leo Scorpio energy. I mean, that's a lot to manage, just that part of you that wants to get out and shine and just, no matter what, you end up getting in that limelight, and then that other side of you probably wants to kind of wait, this is way too exposed. Do you go through that with that square there?
Oh, all the time. I'm either the most social person in the room or the most secluded. Mm-hmm. It really just depends on what day you catch me on.
Well, I always say where the moon is. Wherever the moon is, you can tell what's going on with me. I actually have my husband trained now to ask me where the moon is. So where is the moon right now? Because I have a moon in Pisces, and so I think that the water moons are very intense. They're very, very intense. And I think a lot of times it's hard for us to really explain what we really go through behind the scenes. And we come out and we share, but don't you think, I know for myself, it takes a lot to manage all that watery energy.
It really does. It really does. Like every time the moon's in Virgo, I turn into a nervous wreck without fail every single time.
Yeah. I hear you on that. I do too. And I have a sun in Virgo. So yeah, I've got a Pisces rising, sun in Virgo, and a moon in Pisces. So it's that opposition. I say I'm a full-time job, just taking care of myself. You know, it's a full-time job. So
I love that opposition though. I love that Virgo and Pisces energy. I feel like it just melts together so well, and you get the best of both worlds with that.
Yeah. It's you know, it is. And I think as I get older, and I don't know if this, you know, obviously we have to go through our own experiences, but as I get older and I understand my chart and the energies, they blend, and I'm able to kind of understand when different parts of me are activated. And sometimes I even say, gosh, I need a little Virgo right now. Or, you know what I mean? Like, ooh, I just want to just lay back and have a whole Pisces thing going on. And I can kind of work into those different dynamics. You get a little bit more in control of your energies as you get older, which is kind of cool.
I can't wait to learn that.
Well, you know, I'm thinking this is true. I'm hoping. I'm telling myself this anyway. So, well, tonight, for my audience tonight, and the fact that you've got so much Capricorn in your chart, I thought you would be perfect to come on and help me talk about some of the transits in astrology. You know, after you learn your birth chart or you get a basic concept for your natal chart, then you start to, you know, understand that there's things going on up in the sky, you know, and how does that affect us, and how can we make the most out of it and not let it really, you know, knock us on our butts so bad that, you know, we take too many steps back. We're all moving forward right now, finally, after the last few years. And so right now as we speak, Pluto has just went retrograde in Capricorn. And this will continue until September 25th. And this is a big player up in the sky right now. So this happened on, I believe, April 17th. Have you noticed the last week for yourself? Because you've got Sun, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune in Capricorn in your 6th house. Wow. Have you noticed, are you starting to feel that when these transits are shifting?
Oh, absolutely. Especially with Pluto. I feel that Pluto and I have our own little bond with Scorpio and Pluto residing in Scorpio in my chart. Plus in Capricorn, I've just been all over the place. I've been rethinking my entire life since it went retrograde. My mental stimulation is just through the roof right now. I can't sleep, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'm just going through a lot of really positive changes right now, I believe.
Well, that's a great start into this transit. And, you know, one thing I was going to say, and this is for those of you out there as well, when you look at your chart, you have Mercury and Venus retrograde in Capricorn. A lot of times when you have those retrogrades already and a planet goes retrograde, it's actually can be more comfortable for you than for other people who don't have retrogrades. I don't know if you know, feel like, yeah, like you're saying, I'm having this really positive thing going on, where for a lot of people, it can kind of have the opposite effect, at least during the initial, you know, transition that it goes through when it goes retrograde. So I think that's exciting for you.
It really is. I really take retrogrades as kind of like a power time for me.
Yeah.
Like whenever Mercury goes retrograde, I always go through my initial like 3-day crazy period where I just completely isolate myself because I know I'm just going to be insane. But after that, I can really just harness that retrograde energy and just do something good with it.
Yeah, no, I think that's so great. I think that's so great. Well, and there's so many things that can happen during a retrograde with Pluto there. You do want to look at, where it is directed towards, what house is it activating. For myself, I ended up getting really sick at the exact day of the retrograde. And it was just because I wasn't taking care of myself, running around on the outside. And as soon as it went retrograde, it's like for a lot of people can happen. Physical things can come to the surface that you need to take care of. I had some sinus stuff going on that was getting out of control. And as soon as it went retrograde, it just brought it to the surface, and migraines and different things like that. So physically, for some people, it can have, a strong effect. But for others, it can be spiritual or emotional, or, especially this is a great time to work on your career, what you're doing behind the scenes. So would you agree with that? I mean, how is that? Are you feeling any of that? Or have you had any other people that you've been talking to having any of those experiences?
Yeah, actually, my husband's in the process of moving on to a new job, which is going to be a lot more beneficial. So I'm excited for that. And then I'm kind of rethinking my whole career thing, possibly moving here soon, down to the next town over in Gardnerville. And just a lot. I'm trying to pursue a career in writing as well as astrology, as well as maintaining my day job. So it's hectic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good thing you got all that Capricorn, because you can do it. You can do it. You can definitely do it. Now, one thing, when I, just talking about Capricorn, we're going to kind of just go back and forth with all kinds of ideas tonight. And these Google Hangouts for our audiences are just times for you guys to gain different insights, and something might resonate with you, or, activate a thought. So that's our hope. But we kind of decided we were going to just have some fun as well, talking about the Sirius transit and preparing people for it. But also, when I see a chart like yours, I see a really hard worker. Like, you've been working since you were very young. Is that been true for you? Like, right out the gate?
For the most part, I'm a really hard worker when it comes to something I'm passionate about. But honestly, if I'm just doing something for money, I don't really care too much. And I am a bit of a slacker. But when I want to, I bust my butt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that makes sense with your Leo Scorpio dynamic, because Leos, they have to love what they do. I have Mars in Leo. And if I don't absolutely love what I'm doing and I have a passion for it, you can't get me to budge at all. So that might come from a little bit of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what are you thinking about this Saturn in Sagittarius transit? Are you happy to be out of Saturn in Scorpio, or?
Oh, heavens, yes. That was a very dark time in my life.
I think it was dark for all of us. Yes.
Man, I had so many issues I had to work on with my moon being there. So many issues and so much like transformation I had to go through in order to make myself a stronger person. And I came out victorious. I made a lot of really positive changes. But with it in Sagittarius now, I feel that I don't have any time to have fun anymore.
Yes, because you have Mars in Sagittarius.
Yes.
And that is that place where you've got your motor running, and, the excitement and the fireworks and all of those things. And so Saturn's kind of wanting to flatten that out right now. So it's always a little hard when Saturn is conjunct your, Mars in your chart, because that to me is where where we get that extra spark. But sometimes that extra spark keeps us off track because we're running around on all these different sparks that are going on. And so Saturn's really going to help you stay focused here for the next couple of years. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I definitely need that focus, because with all that conjunction going on with my Mercury, I'm all over the place, especially if my Neptune conjunct my Mercury. I cannot stay focused on anything. And lately I've really been able to just buckle down and concentrate. It's nice change.
Yeah, yeah. Well, do you have any questions for me? I know I think I gave you my chart. We were gonna maybe go back and forth a little bit. I didn't know if you had that or had any questions for me.
Yeah, I do. You have a really interesting chart. I really like it. And I love that you have your moon in the 12th house. Do you feel that that gives you, well, of course it does, but I'm getting all over the place here.
I'm right
How
there
do
with you. I can go right there with you. So,
how do you feel that the Neptune transit through your 12th house in Pisces is affecting you?
oh wow, yeah. It's been really intense because I've always lived a very public life, and I've always really strived on the energy of the public or of working with a lot of other people. And when Neptune came into Pisces, I started really needing to be alone and needing to like get away. And I didn't understand what was wrong with me at that time. Before that happened, Uranus was also in Pisces for about 7 years before it went into Aries. So my life was going through a really crazy flip flop. And everybody was like, what's wrong with you? And I really thought something was wrong with me, but I kept wanting to just really get like alone and like think, just get my thoughts, like, who am I? I think that really activated that part of me that I needed to find out what my thoughts were. I needed to find out what I really believed. I think I had spent so much time, and that has a lot to do with being a Virgo. Often we try to live perfection for everybody else, or what we think everybody else, what's the correct thing to do. And my life was going like completely opposite of that, and I just started going on a very deep self-discovery. And I think that right now I'm writing a lot myself. I just graduated from creative writing through Full Sail University. I went back to school, and I just really spent the last few years really like getting to be okay with myself, and really that I believe that 12th house got really activated, that isolation that often feels uncomfortable can actually be very empowering. So I find that when I go to that place of isolation where I take the time by myself is when my imagination opens up. And it's when I can write and create and think. And so, but I have to go and be alone to have that activated. So it's kind of like it works within that quiet time, that isolation. So that's one way. I don't know if that makes sense. It might be too Piscean, but
No, it totally makes sense. That's beautiful. I love it.
I thought about this also when I was a little younger, probably like from maybe like about 30, like right about after my first Saturn. I had went and worked in a rehabilitation center for women who were like on a rehab. It was a rehab type thing, and I would go there twice a month, and I did that for like 10 years, and just go spend time with them and talk to them and sit on the floor with them. A lot of them were coming off of serious drugs. A lot of them had lost their children, and they were in this program, and I got access. They really liked me, and they liked my style. And even though, thank goodness, I've never been in prison, I worked in isolated places that are very 12th house. Throughout my whole life, I've been very attracted to places that I could go in that were very quiet and help people, like rehab or encourage them, and to keep me out of those places, like to help me see, what can happen to someone's life when you see it firsthand. So I think that fortunately for me, I was able to use that 12th house in a really positive way. where for some people that moon in the 12th cannot work out so positively. But I would definitely go like work in the prisons or go help women. Like I'm really drawn to that. So yeah, that might be another way that plays out.
That's really interesting. And you also have your Neptune and Scorpio trine with your moon as well.
Yes.
That's intense.
How about add in the 8th house?
Yeah, no doubt.
I almost think that having Scorpio in the 8th house can be as powerful as like the moon and Scorpio influence. And I've always had a lot of Scorpios in my life, like everywhere I've turned. There's always Scorpios, and that hasn't always been easy. I've had my stings, but I've also when I think about the people that have stuck by my side and been my teachers and just been there, most of them all have had the moon in Scorpio. So it's kind of a weird dynamic. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure all that out, actually.
I honestly have only known, besides Chris Strickland, one other Scorpio moon in my entire life. It's the weirdest thing. Like, I just never seem to find them.
Yeah, well, I think they are rare. I really, really do. I had a woman that's been in my life for 25 years. I consider like a second mom, and she has the sun in Cancer and the moon in Scorpio. And when I got into astrology, the first thing I did was look her chart up. And I think about it now, and I was very attracted to her as a very young girl, as kind of like a mentor to me, because she'd always tell me the truth, and nobody else would. And she wasn't like intimidated by telling me the truth. She'd just tell me what was up. And she had this little eyebrow that would go up, and she'd give me the Scorpio eye, and she'd look right through me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to know this woman because she's the only one that can see through all of my baloney. I can't lie to her. And then when I found out that I couldn't lie to her, it's like I had to like, what does she got? How does she know? And literally she's been one of my dearest friends for like over 25 years.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, when Saturn went into Scorpio and it really activated my 8th house, I think that it really opened up my psychic ability, my intuitive ability, my ability to, in a lot of ways, I have become much more sensitive as an empath. So I actually have to like be a little bit more careful about decisions I make and not throw myself into situations that I can't manage my energy, because I pick up on so much now. And that is another thing that really happened over the last few years of these transits for me. So
that's an interesting topic. With your water moon, I personally feel like I can't be in a large group of people because I pick up on people's emotions. And with that Scorpio energy, it just kind of transfers directly into my body, and I get really bad anxiety. Like if I go to a concert, I need to stay towards the back, or if I'm in a large room, I need to make sure I keep to myself. Because if there's a lot of people around me that I don't know, I tend to just kind of freak out because I can't handle all the different emotions. Does that happen to you as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that having Mars in Leo and this, that's like, it's like being a showman. And so a lot of times when I get in a public, that Mars in me, I can kind of put on a show, it's like the drama, and I can, I immediately, the electricity of the energy that I'm in. But if I'm there, like that's like the first 10 minutes, like I can come in, I can be like, pow, I'm here. And then when the energy starts to settle and then I start picking up on everything, most of the time when I go places, I'll be like walking out the back, and even if I go sit down and I'll go take pictures of things, because I have to like get away for a few minutes, then I'll come back, and then I'll go back out. And I definitely don't sit very long in one spot. I'm like light on my feet, always navigating around situations.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like I always have to be outside.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me. And I hate living in Nevada because it's so cold here. and I can't be outside all the time. But during the summer,
Come to
like that's my
California.
happy place. That may be in the future. Who knows? I have a lot of family down in Southern California.
Oh yeah, Cali. So weather you can't deny. We are spoiled rotten right here. That is for sure. That is for sure. Yeah. Well, I think it's, I think it's really, really interesting. And I think interesting that you have, just looking at your chart a little bit more here, come into astrology. You have your North Node in Aquarius. And you haven't quite reached your first Saturn return yet. You're getting close. It's coming.
Yes.
But your mind and your ability to really get things, that ability to channel ideas, excellent on the internet, excellent on the airwaves, and intelligent. That North Node really starts happening, at least in my experience and in talking to so many people, really about right after your first Saturn.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. A little scared because I know there's going to be some big bumps in the road, but overall I'm excited.
You should be. You should be, because I think it's right on track with where you're going. The South Node in Leo, it's, a lot of positive, a lot of attention, a lot of different dramatic situations, but you'll have a little bit more of that rebel, like, I don't care what anybody thinks. And that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's nice.
Yeah, I used to be a total people pleaser, and I used to just go out of my way to make people happy and make people like me. And that's something I really had to put a lot of work into. And the more I grow away from that South Node, the more I just don't care what people think of me.
Yeah. Well, I totally get that, because I have Mercury, Venus, and Libra in my South Node in my 7th house, and it's really, that's one of the things that I have gone through, is constantly needing other people's approval or reflection or acceptance to reflect back if I'm okay. And I've noticed, since I've been really moving into this North Node in Aries, it's been hard to let go of that need for that, or that need to feel like I can't do anything on my own. I have to, because I love other people. I love collaborating. Like, I get a lot of energy there. But for the first time in my life, with my North Node in Aries, I get a lot of energy doing my own thing, all by myself, just thinking and creating and pioneering, and I don't need the energy of other people to motivate me like I used to. So that's been kind of interesting transition for my life.
Yeah, it's always really interesting to see a South Node in an area in a chart where there's a lot of aspects going on, like integral parts of the chart.
Yeah. It's, well, and it was hard. It was really hard. I mean, I didn't understand astrology at the time. I was really going through some of really heavy transits, which is how I found astrology, because when Saturn went into Virgo in 2007, I mean, it hit the Sun, Jupiter, Uranus, Pluto, all in my 6th, 7th house there. And, I mean, it kicked my butt, and I had never been through anything like that in my life. And at the same time, Uranus was in Pisces opposing Virgo, and I have Uranus in Virgo. So it's like, it was really tough, I have to say. And I wished at that time I would have understood astrology. I think that's why I'm so passionate about coaching people through some of these transits, because it was really scary not to understand, your life being completely flipped upside down and having no footing. And so astrology really helped me come through that. It helped me understand that we're in cycles, that they don't last forever, that there's a purpose. And now when something comes up, it's like, okay, I know what the lesson is. I'm going to get this. I'm opening up to it. I know it's necessary. I'm not going to fight it. I'm just a little old human down here on earth, going through it like everybody else. And I think it puts everybody on the same playing field, you know? We all have to deal
Yeah.
with the same stuff. And I like that.
It's true. I love that so much about astrology. It with especially with us water moons, we get so emotional and so wrapped up in like the now and why am I emotional now? And we can use astrology as a tool to guide us and show us that there will be an end to this feeling. It's
Yes.
really, really terrific.
Yes. Yes. Because when you're dealing with some intense emotions or feelings, you do sometimes feel like I've experienced a lot of anxiety also the last couple of years with these heavy water stuff going on, because anxiety really is our body's way of wanting to open up and have feelers out there. And then the other part of us, especially like you and I both having these earth signs, that's very like not comfortable with the emotions and wants to control them and wants to put on that, you know, that stoic face, that game face, you know, and inside our body's like, no, this is, you need to open up to this. And it's a lot of conflict when you're trying to allow the spiritual process to take place.
It really is. And us earth signs are just so hard on ourselves. We gain this way of thinking that we should just be perfect with everything we do.
Yeah.
And that gives a lot of anxiety as well.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
noticed we both have our sun in the sixth house. And
Mm.
I know you're an animal lover. I am as well. And the sixth house rules small animals as well, or just animals in general.
Yes,
And
yes.
I thought that was really cool. I've always been around animals my entire life. I've always had a zoo around me.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I'm looking at your chart right now, and the thing that's standing out to me that adds to that for you, even though it's an opposition, is Jupiter and Cancer. Um, Anytime I see Jupiter in Cancer, Jupiter in Pisces, those two specifically, is another huge energy for animal communicators. And the Jupiter in Cancer person will actually have the ability to feel when their animals get sick or
Oh,
something's
yeah.
wrong. And sometimes you can even get like, you know, overly worried all the time because you're picking up on like, you know, if they have like the slightest ache of pain or something's off, like even for people, you'll have that gift as well. A real sensitivity to animals though, and being able to communicate with them. That's another huge power energy you got there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I drive my husband absolutely insane. We have a puppy and two cats, and I'm constantly freaking out. Oh, that was off. That was off. What's wrong with him? And then of course I get on WebMD and go all crazy with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the doctor. It's like the spiritual doctor of the zodiac, that Jupiter in Cancer. And when you're connected to animals like that, and you know, you'll be real prone to like animals showing up at the doorstep that are sick or that need you, or people will call you, you know, do you know anybody that wants this little puppy? And you'll just be like, ah, I got it. You know, that feeling to save it will be real strong.
Yeah, it's so hard. Like I can't go to the pound. I can't really do anything around animals because I just want to bring them all home. And my biggest thing is I absolutely lose my mind when I see like cruelty towards animals. Like I will completely lose it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge humanitarian when it comes to animals and animal rights, and it's definitely that 11th house mixed in there as well.
Well, and with your North Node in Aquarius, that's going to get worse. You might as well just give into it and start it now, and go ahead and start your passion and get it going, because it's going to, as the North Node Aquarius is really big for that, especially with animals as well.
Yes.
Now what kind of dogs do you have?
I have a bull mastiff puppy, and then I have my two cats. I have an older cat who's a Pisces, and then I have my kitten. He's a Libra.
Mm. Well, one thing about Scorpios, I don't know if you know this, you might know this, but they are they are the #1 with cats. Cats love Scorpios.
Oh, yeah.
And every Scorpio I know has got a cat. They might not have anything else, but they've all got a cat. And even if they don't want a cat, there's some stray cat that's meowing at the door. I call them little ghost catchers because they just have that real psychic ability, and especially having a Pisces cat, that's really cool.
Yeah, she really picks up on my emotions. She's really skittish most of the time, but if I'm in a really positive mood or if I'm really overthinking, if I'm feeling anything extreme, she's right here in my lap.
Mm-hmm. Do you notice that she comes and tries to tell you things like when it doesn't seem like anything's going on? Like, does she try to communicate things to you that seem odd?
Oh yeah, yeah. She stares at me and she's got the most intense eyes. And I don't know, it's really weird. She like acts like a dog. When she feels someone is outside, she'll bark.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Well, you'll have to, after our hangout later, you'll have to send me the birth dates and I'll do a little, because that's one thing I do offer is animal chart readings. I've been working with animals professionally my whole life. And I started reading, actually, that's how I really got into astrology is I started reading animal charts to see if what I was picking up on was true, you know, after I learned about reading charts. And I was so blown away by, how accurate it was and how it was helping me professionally. So it was a great tool. It's a great tool for that as well.
That's really amazing.
Yeah. And, you've got Mars in Sagittarius. I was just looking at that because that's ruled by Jupiter. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Another powerful for an equestrian, for horses, and even being a trainer. So even though you've got that big heart, that Sagittarius can give you that ability to even work with animals on a professional level. So just so you know.
Oh, I would love that. I'm actually like deathly afraid of horses. They're the only animal I'm afraid of, just from like I grew up around them and I had a couple bad experiences due to my own being a kid, whatever, but they just scare me.
I know. Well, they can be scary. They can be scary. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. But you do have these abilities in you, and I, just want to encourage you to, in talking about it, to, continue letting that grow because I see it really strong in your chart. So, yeah, very cool. Let's see. One other question I wanted to ask you. We were just talking about the moon water signs. Now, I know for myself with moon and Pisces, a lot of times I will get like a tidal wave of intuition about somebody or someone or something I care about. And I often struggle. For me, I just almost can't hold it back. Like if they get in my path, it's like I'll just tidal wave them with this whole thing and often overwhelm people. Now, with Moon and Scorpio, I know that you pick up on those same things. How do you handle, when you get one of those really intense psychic or intuitive things for your friends or people you care about? How do you handle that? Like, what do you do with that?
Oh, man, I freaked a lot of people out before. I used to not handle it very well. And it usually only happens to me when I'm alone. I'll get just like a really intense feeling about someone. And I'll call them and be like, oh my God, are you okay? And they'd be like, no, this just happened. And it's like I knew. But that doesn't really happen much lately. Now I'm more prone to accidents happening. Like I just know when something's gonna happen, and it really freaked me out. It was really vivid. It was actually just this last Saturday. I was at work and everyone asked me to go run up to In-N-Out to grab lunch for everyone. And as soon as they said In-N-Out, like a car accident flashed in my head, just really fast. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I get up there and right in front of In-N-Out, there's a 3-car accident.
Wow.
And it rattled me so bad because, I've had like a lot of psychic experiences. I've had like spirits come to me in dreams and I've been around spirits before, but nothing like that. It scared me.
Yeah. It's hard. And, you know, and then we wonder, you know, why do we get this information and what do we do with this? And that's kind of like, that's kind of similar to what I get. Mine won't be so much a flash of like a vision, which I think is very common for like the moon in Scorpio or Scorpio energy. Mine will be like, I'll be thinking about something and I'll just be like scanning this energy around it, getting this whole intention or scenario or bad or good feeling. And I just, it's hard. I have to really force myself more and more these days, especially, you know, talking to so many people on such a deep level, to really go, okay, this isn't mine, this is theirs. And, you know, where do I draw that line? It's really hard to do. I mean, and, you know, you just have to trust. Sometimes you go, look, if they're never going to talk to me again, I'm okay with that, because I need to say this, you know, and I've had to do that. That's hard. But, you know, it's good that it's been really good that I can use astrology, that people actually, you know, schedule a reading with me. They're asking me for that part of myself, and then I can do it in a space that's safe for both of us. And so that's kind of one of my rules lately is, did they ask me for my opinion or did I just give it? And that's, you know, it's sometimes I still go, darn it, they didn't ask me and I gave it. But I try to really, you know, not just give it and wait till I'm actually asked. And I'm like, okay, do you really want me to tell you what I think? And then they're like, uh-huh. So that's,
Yeah. I always make it a habit to ask people before I do an in-depth reading for them what areas they don't want me to go to, because I can look at a chart and just see, you know.
yeah.
So I'm always sure to ask them, where do you not want me to go?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big responsibility, you know, it's a big responsibility. And it is, you know, I mean, people, they come to me and they're nervous, and I always tell them, look, you're safe. And I'm only going to go where you tell me to go. And I'm not even, you know, I try to stay right. Let the chart speak to me during that process. And if people want to go deeper, then all right, let's go, you know. But it's so important to provide that safe place for people. I think that's really awesome that you do that as well.
Yeah, I love it. I love doing readings so much. Just
Very cool. Well, we've done really good tonight. Do we have any last final thoughts? I would just want to say to everyone, you know, hang tight. We've got a lot coming up in the next 6 months of a lot of energy shifting, but I really feel good about it. I'm so excited for Jupiter in Virgo coming up this summer.
yay!
Yay! This is my Jupiter return. So I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to rumble. I'm like, okay, I've got all my ducks in a row. Now I'm just pacing myself. I'm trying not to, you know, I'm a little worn out from the last couple of years of energy, and I'm just allowing myself to, it's like ground myself, pace myself, and know that it's all in motion. Our lives are, you know, we have so many opportunities ahead of us if we just, you know, pace ourselves. So any other thoughts for you?
Geez, you know, I had a million questions and now I can't think of any. You do have that grand fire trine in your chart that I was looking at with your Saturn in Aries, your Mars in Leo, and then your midheaven in Sagittarius. I wanted to ask you about that.
Sure. That's a great question. You know what? I think that gives me a huge amount of resilience. It gives me a huge amount of positive energy when there absolutely is no reason to have it. In really, really difficult situations, I've had energy to pull out of things that, you know, most people wouldn't. Sometimes when I think about my life and certain things I've gone through, you know, the Pisces life, it's the duality. And, you know, as high as we can go spiritually is as low as we can go as well. And I've been both places. And I really believe having that fire trine energy has given me just such an inspiration for life. Like, it just made me want more. made me expect more from myself. It made me want to have all that I could have. It's kind of been a protector for me, because if you look at my chart, just the main personal planets, Virgo, Pisces, and Libra, are typically very passive and can really get lost in the mix of everybody else's lives. And having that fire trine is giving me a real competitive edge for myself, for my own goals. And I've reinvented myself so many times, like out of the ashes. And I really attribute it to that fire trine. I'm really grateful for it.
That's so awesome. I love those. I love it when I look at a chart and the first thing I see is a grand trine. Those are just so beautiful to me.
Yeah. And it surprises me that I have the fire one, because a fire trine, because like I said, I when I look at, when you look at your own chart, you're never going to really see it. It's why it's so fun to have these conversations and see what other people pick up on, because you just, you don't see for yourself. But I really think that that has allowed me to rise above in times, many, many times, over and over again. It gave me like a grit, like, oh no, I am not going down. So,
Well, you definitely exude a lot of what's the word? Enthusiasm. And I think that has a big part to play in that.
I think so too. I really do, because I genuinely get, like, I always start all my readings like, I'm so excited to tell you, and I think I need a new line, but I'm really, honestly, as soon as I am doing anything that I love to do, I just get so excited and I get like so happy. And I think that when I ignite my passion, that energy just really backs me up. It gives me a lot of endurance as well, because I've done a lot of things that have required me to have a lot of physical, endurance. I ran a 70 horse ranch for 12 years, cleaning stalls and feeding horses and giving lessons and training babies, and every single day, almost 7 days a week. So physically, and now I think back and go, how did I ever do that? I'm chasing around a 4-year-old right now, and he's like equivalent to 70 horses. I don't know how I did it, but I honestly think it was that fire energy in me that gave me that, almost Superman power. It's the only way I can see it. So that's kind of cool.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. So, well, one thing I'll say about your chart as well, and I've shared this on some of my other just discussions, I'm always fascinated. In fact, my son is born in 1989, and he also shares this, but you have that Saturn, Uranus, Neptune conjunction. Those are very rare lineups. And, we will never see that again in our history. And I think there's something very, very special about, I believe it was just about a 2-year, like 89, 90 period of time that lineup happened. Have you done any studies on that?
Yeah, I have. And there's surprisingly not a lot of information on the internet about it. I found a couple forums and that was it. There's no and I don't know why there isn't. I should write something about it.
Well, I think, yeah, and I think because it's still being, it's still playing out. Like, people, aren't sure what's going to happen with that configuration,
Yeah, and I think it's all just our generation just really has to learn to not only incorporate our individuality along with our work ethic, but as well as our creativity. This is a very creative generation. Granted, Neptune is debilitated in Capricorn, but with these other energies aspecting it, it gives it a nice boost there.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I see that I think is going to be really interesting, and I'm really watching that particular lineup and how that's going to play out. But I think that it really is about completely transforming and breaking the old traditional ways that we've all been under. And, I'm a very traditional person. So when I say that, there's always this side of me that's like, oh no, not all the traditions. I don't think they're all going to be demolished, although Pluto's doing a pretty good job at it right now in Capricorn. But I think that that's the key. When we get through this Pluto and Capricorn transit, which will continue on for another 10 or plus years, I believe that's when you guys will be activated to clean up the mess.
Yep.
You know, help us create new traditions, new ways of security, spiritually and creatively, and how we work. And I think you guys are going to be the front runners for this. So you're right in there. You've got a very dynamic chart, and you know, you've got a lot of powerful opportunities in your future. You know, it's you know, you still don't get out of all the hole digging and, you know, having to work hard for what you want in your life, but you're going to be a very important part. And I believe we'll see that really triggered a little bit later. And that might be why people aren't talking about it in the regular forms, because it's like nobody knows what to, you know, what's going to happen. But you guys will be right in there.
I'm curious to see what happens when Saturn returns for this generation back into Capricorn. I think that'll probably initiate a lot of it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. You're right. And that could be because we're really setting up for it now. We're really setting up for it now. And, you know, the world is coming to a place where people are really taking their own life back in their hands. And, you know, Capricorn also, you know, is, you know, has a strong, you know, side of it that's about nature and about the earth and about protecting the earth. A lot of times they are, you know, very, very strong in gardening and understanding archaeology and native lands. And, you know, we have a lot of issues right now in our world that we haven't taken care of very well, this earth. And the animals are crying out, and, you know, wild horses are, you know, being demolished off the lands. And I think your generation, along with the Pluto and Virgo generation together, are going to be a really powerful time, including when Uranus moves into Taurus. We're going to have a very strong earth thing going on. And I think we'll see a lot of humanitarianism and a lot of going back to taking care of our earth. And it sounds like you already have that heart.
I'm very excited for that. And it's becoming a really big issue here in Nevada. There's a lot of wild horses up here that roam around in the Carson Valley and all that. And the BLM's just completely trying to just take that land for themselves. So every day there's protesters out in front of the Capitol building, and there's definitely the effort being put forth. So hopefully when that Uranus transit does happen in Taurus, it'll really come to light for everyone.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes. And I've been definitely an advocate for that as well. So yeah, it breaks my heart. It's really hard for me to, when I get on Facebook and people are posting like animal abuse stuff and things like that. I can't watch it, you know. I love all the wonderful things that they post about animals, but it's tough. It's really tough stuff for us. But, you know, without the internet, I think so much of it we would not have been aware of. And people are becoming aware of what is going on. We're seeing it with our own eyes.
Yes.
And that's when change happens, when it hits here. So, well, Sarah, this was an awesome conversation. We will definitely have to do this again. I really enjoyed this.
So did I. That was awesome. Amazing.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Well, we'll have more topics. There's more things coming up. We'll have to do another hangout, especially with Saturn and Scorpio retrograding this summer. I'm still feeling a little unnerved about that. I almost think that once that happens, I can take a breath. I don't know why. It's feeling a little looming to me, and I don't like that feeling. Are you feeling that way, or are you excited to just go back and finish things up? Where are you at on that?
Yeah, I kind of just want it to be over with. That last Saturn through Scorpio transit just messed so many things up. I just want it to be done and over with. I want to just enjoy Saturn and Sagittarius for the long haul.
Yeah, Yeah, we can do no fun, but all that deep emotional stuff is tough. It's tough.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I have Saturn in my ninth, 10th house right in there. So my career and everything about what I'm doing is you know, on the table now. Authenticity and who I am and what do I really believe and being honest about all of those things and being brave and, you know, standing up for them. So I've already been tested and I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm going to do just fine.
Yes. Well, here's to a smooth transit.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. If you have any questions, comments, please comment below because that really is fun for us when we do these to see, you know, how you guys are feeling about it. And go over and check out Sarah's channel. I'll put her link below. She's got all kinds of cool videos. I loved your Pisces Moon video too.
Oh, thank you.
That was good. That was really good. Yeah, I always watch the Pisces Moon. And if I like those, I'm like, yeah, okay. So
it's a fun energy to talk about.
Was it Pisces Moon or was it Pisces Moon compatibility? I'm trying to remember.
You commented on the compatibility.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. I'm like, yeah, she's got it. She knows.
Pisces is fun to talk about.
Yes, yes. Well, continue to enjoy Jupiter and Leo in your ascendant there, and we're gonna keep heading forward, everyone, and we'll sign off now and have a great night. Sarah, thanks again for this hangout.
Thank you, Crystal Lynn.
Okay, talk to you later, guys.